Michigan football fans, I want to ask you to subscribe to the channel if you haven't. We've had actually our best 2-day subscriber growth maybe ever since the game on Saturday. So thank you to all of you who have joined the Michigan Football Report community. And I want to invite you guys to join this channel tonight, 6:45 p.m. Eastern. We will have the College Football Playoff Ranking Show live here on the Michigan Football Report YouTube channel. We've got Condoleezza Rice in our ears giving us the rankings as soon as they happen, so you're not missing out by watching, not watching it on TV, anything like that. Join us here on the channel. Make the live chat community pop off. We're expecting Michigan to be number 2. All right. Usually we do this on Sundays, Overreaction Sunday, but since I was celebrating in Vegas Saturday night, Overreaction Tuesday, all coming up right now. I'm James Yoder, the host of the Michigan Football Report, here with Overreaction Tuesday. It took me 3 days after that game to put my my mind together and just kind of really conceptualize and just kind of forward think what this win means for Harbaugh, for the program, for the players, for the fans, and really, in a lot of ways, the landscape of college football. I do think it's actually a pretty big deal that the 4 teams that have been in the college football playoff basically every year, Clemson, Ohio State, Alabama, and Oklahoma, at least 3 of them will not be in the playoff this year. And if Alabama loses to Georgia, all 4 will not be in the college football playoff. My number 1 overreaction is old Jim Harbaugh is back. And if you think back to last year, the last 2 years, things that I was critical of Harbaugh on this show, what I say, looked like he had no fire on the sidelines. Looks like he really didn't come with a game plan, didn't get his team motivated. He had gained a hell of a lot of weight. I mean, he said he lost 30, 40 pounds this offseason, which is shout out to him. He looked old as hell. I mean, Jim Harbaugh 2 years ago versus now, he looked 10 years older a year ago than he does today. He's lost weight, not looking as gray, not looking as sunken in eyes. The stress seems to have come off himself. And think back to Harbaugh at Stanford. He would say things like Pete Carroll, the what's your deal, or Pete Carroll, he'll be in the NFL in a year or 2. All those things, he'd take shots. We saw when Harbaugh just started. This is the quote of the decade. When being asked about Ohio State, their coaches, their fans, saying things that motivated Michigan, he ended his post-game press conference with this quote, and he kind of bungled the quote a little bit, but he said sometimes people standing on third base think they hit a triple, but they didn't. Now, what he meant to say was, people born on third base think they hit a triple, but they didn't. Now, where's that going after? You say that about a rich kid, a kid whose dad left him about $20 million riding around in a Ferrari in a big house thinking he made it. This has anything to do with him. Well, no, bro, you got a silver spoon in your mouth. Taking a shot at Ryan Day. Ryan Day of, we're going to hang 100 on him. Ryan Day of, I can't say a single nice word about Michigan in these Big Ten promo videos that were going out all week, Big Ten Network promo videos. Say something nice about your opponent. Jim Harbaugh, Aidan Hutchinson said something very nice about Ohio State. Okay, they've got great fans, great stadium, blah, 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 blah. Ryan Day, completely smug-faced jerk, would just go, nope. And so Jim Harbaugh said, look, those things went into it. Ryan Day took over probably the second or third best college football program at the time for Urban Meyer, who had that thing absolutely rolling, and all of a sudden got Justin Fields, right, the number 2 quarterback prospect from a year prior recruiting class, to transfer him. Born on third base, thinks he hit a triple. But you just got tagged out at third by Jim Harbaugh, Ryan Day, and the walking through the Big Ten, that is over. And there is going to be no more pressure on any coach in college football next season than Ryan Day, because if he goes into Ohio State Thanksgiving weekend next year at home at Columbus and loses to Harbaugh for the second straight year, 4 years into it, he'll be with only 1 win over Michigan. Woo, I don't care if they win every other game, the hot seat will be roaring, roasting hot for Ryan Day. So I have one thing to say before we kind of move on to my second overreaction. I just took a little space on that one. I wanted to get that out of my my head. It's always darkest before dawn is a quote attributed to me. I think if you see that hanging up in offices, attributed to anybody else, or motivational books, make sure that's a Yoder quote. You think back to where things went with Michigan, 2016, and then in some ways the 2018 blowout. They broke Jim Harbaugh's spirit, I think, in some ways. And he really struggled through 2019. Man, Don Brown has got me here. Pep Hamilton's my boy. Tim Drevno's my guy. Are we getting it done? I'll make this wild move and get Josh Gass. It really hasn't paid off, but, man, the last couple games, Gass had a heck of a run. And I do think at some level, at the end of last year, Harbaugh took this 50% pay cut. There was nothing going right with Michigan, but somehow he managed to get a recruiting class to stick together, and they really believed in Michigan. And I think it's sometimes in life when you get news that is like, man, this sucks and there's nothing I can do about what's happened, then I can make decisions going forward that have less consequences, right? What's the worst that could happen after a 2-4 season when everyone wanted you fired? Well, if you fire all your coaches and bring in another staff, the worst that could happen is everyone's going to still want me fired, so might as well give it a shot, right? Might as well go back to talking some trash to coaches like Ryan Day. Might as well go with the third-year quarterback in Cade McNamara and not what everybody wants me to do with the 5-star in J.J. McCarthy. And I think a Harbaugh approached it. I said it all year. If you look back to shows we did the second and third and fourth week of this season, I said, I feel like Jim Harbaugh, and it was reinforced when they went to Wisconsin and did it. I feel like he's treating like this as a year one at his new school, right? He has visualized this is year one, and I do think that Michigan needed to be in the lowest spot they could be. Just think about, I don't want to make this a simulation, but hit rock bottom, right? You say like an alcoholic, hit rock bottom, you got to go to recovery. I kind of think that's what happened with Harbaugh and this program, and we'll see, how it plays out. We've got a big one coming up here on Saturday. We'll talk about that in a second, how important this game is. But we'll kind of see where we go from there, folks. So tonight, again, 6:45 p.m. Eastern. Join us here live on the Michigan Football Report YouTube channel for the College Football Playoff Top 25 Rankings, which leads me to this question. I want to know from you guys, go down in the comments here on YouTube. Let me know, where do you think Michigan will be ranked in tonight's CFP Top 25? I will pin this comment beneath the video. If you get hit with the YouTube ad break here, now's the perfect time. Scroll down, give me an answer, scroll back up, let the ad finish, and we'll be rocking with our number 2 overreaction. And that number 2 overreaction is Michigan really should make the national title game at this point, right? They should make the national title game if. And what do I mean by if? What do I mean by that, right? It's pretty cut and dry who is going to make this college football playoff and what Michigan fans should be rooting for right now from a for perspective. So do we have the college football playoff map? Let's go to the map. This is kind of walk you through as fans. If you haven't been paying attention of the other conferences, etc., whatever, it's fine. You didn't expect Michigan to be here. Totally cool. There's 4 teams right now. Alabama, Georgia, Michigan, and Cincinnati. If they win the game this weekend on Saturday, they are in the college football playoff. That's crazy to think about. Cincinnati, wow, in the college football playoff, even though their coach might not even be there. Georgia wins, and hell, if Georgia loses, they're still in it, honestly. If Alabama wins, they're in. Michigan, of course, needs help. Oklahoma State, Notre Dame, they're rooting for Georgia to win, of course, to knock Alabama out, and they're hoping that either Cincinnati or Michigan gets upset. And then Ohio State, Baylor, already out. We just could not come up with a solution or any scenario where either of those schools would be in the national title game. So there's 6 teams that can make this thing, right? There's one that Michigan would be a definite decided underdog to in the semifinal, and that would be Georgia. How would Michigan end up playing Georgia? There's only one scenario. Georgia loses to Alabama. Alabama pops up to number 1 in the college football playoff. Michigan stays at 2. And then Georgia likely would drop to 3. Number 1, you lose to number 3. You're not going to drop to 4, and they're definitely not going to do it where Alabama and Georgia have to play each other again in the semifinal. So no matter how it shakes out, if Alabama beats Georgia, Michigan will play Georgia as long as, of course, Michigan beats Iowa. I don't want that to happen. So root for Georgia versus Alabama. I think Georgia should win, although I haven't necessarily got the impression, the impression that their offense is anything that is going to drop 40 or something on Alabama. But look, Alabama's offense, this isn't the, they had maybe the greatest offense of all time last year, but that team's not here anymore, right? Najee Harris, Mac Jones, Devontae Smith, Jalen Wild, those guys aren't on this program anymore. And I think that Georgia should win it, which means Michigan would either get Cincinnati most likely, could be Notre Dame, maybe Oklahoma State, but I doubt it, in that semifinal game. And then Michigan would be favored, in my opinion, and should make the national title game, of course. But you got to take care of business this Saturday. Look, this year, and I'm going to say this year alone, because of the 10-year drought, the 8 straight losses, this win versus Ohio State is bigger than the Big Ten championship, right? I know you're going to agree with me if you're a Michigan fan watching this. You're not going to feel those emotions. You're not going to cry. You're not going to scream. You're not going to do all these things you did after the Ohio State game if they win the Big Ten championship. You're like, yeah, okay, cool, on to the next one. It's actually not going to mean a ton, I don't think. Now, I think that Michigan fans will take over Indianapolis this Saturday. So if you're going, scream your lungs out, get the Big Ten championship. And 3 years from now, we might be saying, oh, wow, Ohio State, we beat them a couple times, 2 of the last 3 or something like that. It doesn't mean it as much anymore. And in the Big Ten title, okay, that becomes the prize because we know we got to get that to get to the college football playoff, to get the national title game. But look, I don't think Michigan's going to lose this game, but if they did for some reason, it wouldn't make the Ohio State win any less sweet. And the only thing that can top this game, folks, the Ohio State game, is the only thing that can make it better is the national title. All right, I would feel the same way probably if they broke through after last year's 2-4 season, after the last decade versus Ohio State. If you win the national title, that would top the Ohio State win. But anything else to that, I think at this point is just icing on the cake for this program, and I'm certainly excited to see where Michigan goes from here. But which means more to you guys? And just take it in the context of this season. Would beating Ohio State be the bigger game for you, or beating Iowa on Saturday and winning the Big Ten? There are your two options on the screen. Go down and type OSU or type BIG for the Big Ten. Which of those two wins, assuming Michigan beats Iowa, will be more important to you and mean more? BetUS is our sponsor on today's show. If you want to win some cash, like I've been doing all season on these Wolverines, go over to BetUS, use promo code GOBLUE, use chatsports.com/GoBlue. Make sure you use that link when you deposit. 100%, 25% deposit bonus when you use promo code GOBLUE. It's the sportsbook partner that we trust. Michigan is 11-point favorites over Iowa this weekend. I think they should cover that spread. I think Michigan is at least 14 to 17 points better than Iowa, and I definitely don't think Iowa will score a ton of points. So go get started with BetUS, chatsports.com/GoBlue. Put some money on the Wolverines. You thank your boy Yoder for telling you to do that later on after Michigan wins this Big Ten title. Number 4, Aidan Hutchinson, Hassan Haskins. Both of these guys can win the Heisman, and it would be the most unlikely Heisman run in the history of college football, I think, at this point. Maybe, I don't know, what's the guy? Kyler Murray winning it over Tua, kind of had two big games at the end of the year. Tua was like 10-1. Like, you had to put up $1,000 to win 100 on Tua. A week before the college football game, he had a bum game. He had a bad game against Georgia, and then Kyler Murray absolutely went off in their Big 12 title game. Aidan Hutchinson, okay? 7 tackles this past weekend against Ohio State. 3 sacks. Of course, those 3 sacks were tackles for losses. QB pressure. It's not a stat that's like officially monitored by the NCAA or the Big Ten. Pro Football Focus said 15 QB pressures. I guess that's what makes him step in the pockets or within his grasp. I'm not sure how they measure it. Is the most that they have seen of any college football defensive player since they have been tracking this stat. I think like 8 or 9 seasons, which is kind of crazy to see. If he has another game like that, like he had in Saturday, 3 sacks, etc., you never know. But look at this tweet back from October 30th. I put it there, right around halftime of the Michigan State game. I said, that reversal of Aidan Hutchinson's touchdown just cost him the Heisman. It seemed like fanboy stuff then. It seemed like, Yoder, you're crazy. And plenty of people said they're crazy. But I believe that it is true right now. If he had got that Heisman Trophy winner, or that touchdown, and with what Bryce Young did against Auburn, which was nothing on Saturday except for the last drive, C.J. Stroud did against Michigan in a losing effort, Aidan Hutchinson would be your Heisman frontrunner if he had done it. So this Saturday, Jim Harbaugh, if Michigan is up by 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, game in hand, he's an athlete. Put the damn kid in the game at fullback at the 1-yard line. Tell Hassan Haskins, hey, if you get to the 1, just go down. We're going to give Hutch a touchdown. Of course, unless Haskins himself is going for another 5-touchdown game like he did against Ohio State. What a game, right? What a game. You can put it up there with Desmond Howard against Ohio State in 1991. You could put it up against Charles Woodson with a punt return touchdown, an interception, a big catch on offense. The best performance, Tim Biakapatuka, 313 yards in 95. The best performances against Ohio State in the history of this Michigan football program. And look, I think Harbaugh wants to get a Heisman Trophy winner. I mean, he understands the value that is to branding, the value that is to recruiting. And so if they have the opportunity to give one of these guys the chance to rack up stats, I think Haskins is clearly the one because you can't just rack up sacks left and right. If Michigan's in the red zone, go to Haskins. If he gets 4 or 5 more touchdowns, folks, he's leading the country in touchdowns. He's only 2 behind the national leader with 20. None of the guys ahead of him or tied with him are playing this weekend. He ends up with 22, 23 touchdowns, gets up to 1,500 yards rushing, adds in 15 catches, something like that. You could be looking at your 2021 Heisman Trophy winner in Hassan Haskins, folks. If Bryce Young loses, the front runner right now, Bryce Young, if he loses, Michigan just beat C.J. Stroud. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I don't think it's likely that this goes down. But if you're looking at a voter, you're like, wow, Bryce Young, bad game in the year. C.J. Stroud lost to Michigan. I don't know about that. Like, do you really feel good about voting for one of those guys for the Heisman if either Hassan or Aidan Hutchinson were to put together 2 back-to-back unbelievable all-time performances? All right, folks, we're at 16,800 subscribers. Now, we have officially passed Michigan Podcast. So thank you for going down this mission with me the last 2 months. We're about just got 30 more subscribers. This is what the producers tell me in my ear. So shout out to all of you who have subscribed. We were about 2,000 or 3,000 back of Michigan Podcast when the season started. They've added 1,000. We've added like 3,000 or 4,000, etc. It's all based on you guys. Appreciate it. If you're watching that guy, cool. Keep watching him if you like his content, but glad for all the new people that have joined us on this mission to lead Michigan to beating Ohio State like they did. All right, last one for today. Stretching it out there a little long, so thank you for sticking with us this entire video. But I think we've set ourselves a new tradition on Saturday. Blue pants forever against Ohio State. And I don't mean at home. I mean every game, on the road, at home, blue pants forever. Something happens once and it's good. It's a rule of life. If you do anything and something good happens, you just got to do it like that forever, and you're going to get the same result, guaranteed to happen. But I'll ask you guys this question. Do you agree with me? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Should Michigan start a new tradition? They wear the blue pants forever every time they play Ohio State. Go down in the comments. Let me know. We'll be back tonight. Join us live 6:45 Eastern here on the Michigan Football Report live on YouTube.